Welcome back everyone to Trending Update USA. I'm Steffan, and today we bring you a developing story straight from Melbourne that has sent ripples through the tennis world as the Australian Open has officially released a statement following Coco Gauff's public complaint, a complaint now strongly backed by Novak Djokovic himself, adding even more weight to growing concerns about player treatment, scheduling pressure, and conditions at Grand Slam events. The drama began when Coco Gauff, one of the brightest young stars in women's tennis and a Grand Slam champion in her own right, spoke openly about frustrations she experienced during her recent Australian Open campaign. While she praised the fans and atmosphere, Gauff made it clear that several behind-the-scenes issues were becoming harder for players to ignore, particularly late-night match scheduling, limited recovery time, media overload, and a lack of meaningful communication between tournament organizers and athletes. Gauff explained that while tennis continues to grow globally, the human side of the sport is being stretched thinner every season. Players are expected to perform at peak physical and mental levels while dealing with unpredictable match times that sometimes run well past midnight, especially during the first week of the tournament. She pointed out that while fans enjoy dramatic night sessions, many players are left finishing matches at 2 or even 3 a.m., only to be scheduled again the following day. Her comments quickly went viral, sparking intense debate across social media. Some fans defended the tournament's packed schedule, while many others applauded Gauff's courage for speaking up about realities most viewers never see. But what truly escalated the situation was when Novak Djokovic, a 10-time Australian Open champion and one of the most respected voices in tennis history, publicly backed Gauff's concerns. Djokovic stated that these issues are not new, and that players have been raising them privately for years. According to him, the sport has reached a point where entertainment value is being prioritized over athlete well-being. He acknowledged that broadcasters and sponsors demand primetime matches, but warned that consistently pushing players into extreme hours would eventually take a toll on careers and health. Djokovic shared that even he, despite years of experience managing recovery and sleep cycles, has struggled after late finishes in Melbourne. He emphasized that younger players like Gauff are especially affected because their bodies are still developing and their schedules are already packed year-round. Within hours of Djokovic's support, the Australian Open organizers were under heavy pressure to respond, and they did. In their official statement, tournament officials acknowledged player concerns and promised to review scheduling practices moving forward. They emphasized that their goal has always been to balance fan experience with athlete welfare, but admitted that the growing size of the tournament and global broadcasting demands have made that balance increasingly complex. The statement noted that the Australian Open has already introduced several player welfare initiatives in recent years, including extended recovery rooms, improved medical staffing, and flexible warm-up facilities. However, they confirmed that match timing would now undergo a comprehensive evaluation, especially for early-round matches that often spill deep into the night. Organizers also announced plans to consult directly with player representatives, including both ADP and WTA councils, to explore potential solutions such as earlier night session starts, capped match finishing times where possible, and smarter court allocation for longer matches. While the statement avoided admitting fault, many saw it as a rare acknowledgement that players' frustrations have reached a point where they can no longer be ignored. Tennis insiders say this moment could mark a turning point in how Grand Slam tournaments operate in the future. For years, the sport has walked a tightrope between tradition and commercial growth. Primetime television deals are now worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and night sessions often draw the biggest crowds and ratings. But as players push their bodies harder than ever, recovery windows are shrinking. Several current and former players have now joined the conversation, supporting both Gauff and Djokovic. Andy Murray commented that late-night finishes were one of the toughest parts of his career, especially during long 5-set matches in Australia's humid conditions. He said that while fans may see the drama and excitement, they don't see the hours of ice baths, physio sessions, and restless nights that follow. Ons Jabeur echoed Gauff's concerns, saying that women's matches are often scheduled unpredictably, sometimes pushed back multiple times in one evening depending on men's match lengths. She added that this makes proper warm-up and mental preparation extremely difficult. Even some coaches weighed in, stating that recovery science clearly shows athletes perform worse when sleep cycles are repeatedly disrupted, increasing injury risk over long tournaments. For Coco Gauff, this moment has unexpectedly turned her into a leader beyond just results on the scoreboard. At only 20 years old, she has consistently used her platform to speak about issues affecting players, from mental health to equality, and now scheduling fairness. Many fans praised her maturity and courage, noting that younger players often hesitate to challenge powerful tournament organizers. Djokovic's support has only strengthened her position. Sources close to the player councils say discussions are already underway about proposing official scheduling limits at all Grand Slams, not just in Melbourne. Wimbledon, the US Open, and Roland Garros may soon face similar pressure to modernize how they manage night sessions. The broader issue here reflects tennis's rapid evolution. The sport is more global than ever, with audiences across Asia, Europe, and the Americas all tuning in at different time zones. Organizers constantly juggle what works best for television while trying to maintain packed stadiums. But as Djokovic bluntly put it, there has to be a line where entertainment stops and health begins. What makes the Australian Open unique is its intense summer heat, which already pushes players to physical extremes. Late-night matches often follow scorching daytime temperatures, meaning players' bodies are under stress for nearly 24 hours straight. Medical experts have long warned that dehydration, fatigue, and muscle breakdown increase dramatically under such conditions. The tournament has previously introduced extreme heat policies, but scheduling has remained a growing concern, until now. Fans are divided. Some argue that late matches create unforgettable moments and dramatic finishes that define the Australian Open's reputation as the Happy Slam. Others now believe the spectacle has gone too far. Social media has been flooded with clips of exhausted players finishing matches at dawn, barely able to walk off court. Many are now viewing those moments not as heroic but as unnecessary strain. The Australian Open's willingness to publicly respond suggests they understand the seriousness of the issue. However, critics point out that similar promises have been made in the past without major changes. Whether this time leads to real reform will depend on how strongly players continue to push. One thing is clear: when a rising superstar like Coco Gauff and a legend like Novak Djokovic stand united, the tennis world listens. This situation could reshape not just scheduling but the broader power dynamic between athletes and tournament organizers. Players today have larger platforms than ever before, and fans increasingly support transparency and fairness over pure entertainment. If meaningful changes come out of this moment, it may be remembered as a turning point when player welfare finally moved to the center of professional tennis. As the season continues and other Grand Slams approach, all eyes will be on how organizers respond, and whether late-night finishes start becoming the exception rather than the norm. For now, Coco Gauff's voice has sparked a conversation that tennis can no longer avoid, and Novak Djokovic's backing has made it impossible to dismiss. The Australian Open has heard the message. What comes next could define the future of the sport. And as always here on Trending Update USA, we'll keep bringing you every major development from the world of tennis and beyond.